Monday, starting at 8 Eastern with the Sixers and Pelicans from New Orleans. 10:30, it's the Mavericks and Clippers from L.A. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern with the Auto Trader pregame. And the aforementioned Sixers hosted the Blazers and Damian Lillard on Saturday afternoon. It was a 1 p.m. Eastern time tip in Philly. And you would think that that would be advantage home team. Not so much, although early it has been Simmons laying it in. And then Jonathan Simmons to the other Simmons, more notably. And he lays it in once again. Ben Simmons had a nice game. He held up his end of the bargain with 29, 7, and 10. But the Blazers close out the first half on a 16-7 run led by Damian Lillard. And Portland took a 3-point lead at halftime. Joel Embiid sitting out with a knee injury. And Dante, the Blazers took full advantage.
Yeah, Nurkic and Cantor had a field day tonight with no interior defense by Joel Embiid. They're going to have to find a way to win games and defend the paint with him being out right now.
Yusuf Nurkic had a big one, 24 and 10. Jake Layman rising and shining.
Jake Layman, nice dunk. Great play right there. I love the play design, and Dan Willis serving it up just right.
Enes Kanter had 16 and 8.
Bully ball. Bully ball. We talked about no Joel Embiid. The Trailblazers had 66 points in the paint. You think they knew the big fella wasn't there tonight? Of course they knew.
C.J. McCollum looked great on that. It was not a great shooting game for him, though. 6 of 17, 15 points, and Brett Brown is like, really? We just got blown out? Okay, at home. Portland wins their third in a row. They outscored Philly 41-26 in the third quarter when they took a tight game and ran away with it. They out-rebounded Philly 53-33. Jimmy Butler, strangely, only took 9 shots in 30 minutes. J.J. Redick was 1 of 10 from the floor. But B. Wood, it was 66 paint points for the Portland Trailblazers without the awesome Joel Embiid there in the middle. Talk about how they exploited that absence of Embiid.
Well, they drove the ball to the basket, and then they threw the ball inside to their two players that could take advantage when you talk about Kanter and Nurkic. You see right here, the ball's getting swung around the perimeter. Look how easy that is. Layman drives right to the basket. Al-Farouq Aminu drives right to the basket. No resistance. Mo Harkless dunking all on. Who was that he just dunked on? I don't know who that was. It was so quick, but stop it, man.
It was Amir Johnson.
It was Amir Johnson?
Who was just in the G League for a minute.
Amir was where?
He has to go to the G League, and they let him go to the G League.
And I respect that as a veteran, going to try to get your timing and trying to get some playing time to be ready whenever you're called upon.
Oh, okay, all right. He's better than me. I wasn't going. My last year, Cleveland couldn't ask me to do that. I bet you want me to do what? G League? Man, you better get out of here. Well, the point that I'm making is that no matter who was there, it wasn't Joel Embiid, and they were taking advantage in the paint, whether it was Kanter, Nurkic, Aminu, whoever, Layman. They were just driving to the basket. This Philadelphia team is a lot different defensively when the big fella isn't in the paint.
And Nurkic had his 28th double-double. We move on right now. Timberwolves and Bucks from Milwaukee. And no Karl Anthony Towns. He was in a car accident a few days ago. Concussion. He's missed now back-to-back games. Can't get well soon. And, of course, MVP candidate Giannis Antetokounmpo, 27, 10, and 7. Another typical line.
Yeah, All-Stars came to play tonight, and he came out there and dominated from the tip.
Oh, wait a minute.
Tolliver.
Was that Anthony Tolliver?
Yeah.
Stop playing.
He made a bad life decision because that could have went real bad.
Oh, my goodness. I see you, 18. And now he's popping the 3.
Yep.
He could always do that.
Take that.
Anthony could always shoot that tater now.
He had 17 points, 5 threes, 6 of 8 from the floor, and that block on Giannis. What a game for Tolliver. Minnesota led 70-69 at halftime.
Oh, wait a minute.
Beating the shot clock.
Wait a minute now.
Yeah, when he got that going, I don't know how you stop the kid because he can get in the paint anytime he wants to.
Derrick Rose was nice. Once again off the Minnesota bench with 23. Shot putting that one home. 2-point game, but the Bucks close it out. B. Wood, here's Giannis.
Bully ball at its finest. Had a nice move inside. Didn't work. Then he just went ahead and just took advantage and dunked it on.
Splat. Chris Middleton, all-star, 28 points, 4 threes, and Brook Lopez with a poster job.
Oh, come on, man.
And he stares him down, Dante.
Listen, you got to move out the way, young fella, because Brook has been hooping right now. He got space, and he got confidence, and he has some young kids that he draws energy from.
Man, that's somebody's child right there. You can't do him like that.
That's fantastic. Milwaukee wins this one 140-128 in a defense-optional game. Milwaukee gets their 45th win. They make 19 threes and had 7 players over 10 points. Minnesota is now 3 games under 500. Their playoff hopes are slipping. Jeff Teague, the starting point guard, 2 points on 1 of 7. Gibson, by the way, started for Cat, had 20 points and 6 boards. What more do you want to say about Giannis Antetokounmpo? Let's go here. Is he your MVP right now, or is it Harden, or is it Paul George?
He's my MVP right now. It's subject to change because Paul George is playing that well. But this is all about Giannis. Giannis is the MVP. He combines the best, I'll say, MVP type of year when you look at winning combined with MVP type stats. He's got the points, 27 a game. He's got the rebounds, 13 a game. And on top of that, he's getting you 6 assists. He does it very efficiently. And the Bucks have the best record in the league. He should be the MVP. But PG-13 is on the way.
Is he your MVP?
You know, me and B Wood don't agree much at times, but we agree on this one. He's your MVP right now.
By the time you start listening to
because he's winning. His team is winning. He's motivating. He's leading his team to the best record in the league right now. And PG is right on his heels. I think it's a two-man race, and it will be a two-man race going down the stretch. But those guys are doing a great job for their teams. It's like what you appreciate. My heart says PG, but my head tells me it's Giannis.
Giannis was 3 of 4 from downtown. Later in the show, we'll give you the secret to his success shooting the rock here on Saturday night. All right, Celtics and Bulls, and there is Zach LaVine. Now, earlier this year, Boston beat the Bulls by 56 points. It did not go that way here this evening. Kyrie Irving with a left wing 3, and he was awesome. 37, 5, and 10 for the all-star point guard.
Yeah, Kyrie came to play, but the rest of the Celtics didn't come to play tonight. This is a game that they had to win, had to take advantage and get some confidence from.
What a shot by Irving. Zach LaVine erupted, B. Wood. 42 points, 17 of 29 from the floor.
Man, listen, it's showing everything. The versatility you saw with the reverse layup. Now you see him pulling up from 3. Nice little ISO situation. Step back. Marcus Smart. Great defense. Better offense by LaVine.
Those points, a career high for the bouncy one. Kyrie Irving now. And we'll get to Kyrie in a minute. That's Lauri Markkanen. 35 and 15 for him.
Oh, man.
Where's the defense on that one?
That's exactly what the Boston Celtics fans were wondering tonight. Come on, you can't have that. Going down the middle of the lane, whoever was was on the weak side defender did not even take a step in Zach LaVine's direction.
Chicago beats Boston 126-116. That is not a graphical error. It actually went down that way. Chicago wins their 2nd in a row, their 16th win. Otto Porter Jr., by the way, left this game with a lower left leg strain and did not return. Celtics out-rebounded by 17. Here's Kyrie after the loss.
As a team, as a collective, I know we all, have winning at the forefront of our mind. At least I hope so. And you just go about it every single day the way you prepare and go out into the game and the lineups that we have and what we're doing. And, you just got to be able to adapt. And in this league, the teams that adapt the quickest or, they adapt at the right time, are successful in the playoffs, as you know. So, we're still waiting for that thing to click where, we've gone on 8 games, 6 games, 4 games winning streaks, and then, we'll hit a lull of 3 games, and then we're back answering questions like this. So, it is what it is. Like I said, I don't get frustrated about this stuff anymore. It's just part of the regular season, in the playoffs when we could plan for a team, prepare for a team. I still don't see anybody beating us in 7 games. So.
Okay, so we take a look at the standings 1 through 5 in the East through Saturday's work. Bucks with a 1.5 game lead over the Raptors. 3, 4, and 5. They're going to be playing out the rest of the year here. The Pacers with a 2-game bulge over the Sixers, and the Sixers with a 1-game lead over the Celtics. Remember, the Celtics had the head-to-head tiebreaker because they've beaten the Sixers 3 out of 3 this year. So, B. Wood, the pull quote there is, we're bringing on all comers here, man. We don't care. You can say what you want. In a 7-game series, we ain't losing. Are you buying what he's selling?
I do not buy it, but I buy him saying it. That is what Kyrie Irving is supposed to say. That is what Kyrie Irving in that locker room is supposed to believe. Now, we up here at the desk, we know better. We know there's a good chance that they get matched up in a 4-5 matchup against the 76ers. They won't make it out of the first round, and they definitely do not want to play the Golden State Warriors. But the big but here is that this is what they should think. This is what they should believe. Kyrie, as the leader of this team, is supposed to be pumping his guys up and making them believe they can beat anybody and take on all comers.
I'm not buying it because he said the right thing at the right time, but when you're giving up layups like that and going down the stretch like this, you should be a well-oiled machine going into the playoffs. You should have all these rotations, all your responsibilities down pat. And when you're talking about chemistry and a feel for the game of your team that's supposed to be in contention for a championship, that's a bad sign going into the playoffs.
What's your theory on teams not handling their business tonight? Golden State didn't handle their business. The Lakers didn't handle their business. The Celtics didn't handle their. I mean, these were like gift-wrapped wins for these teams, and they didn't get it done. What's your theory on that?
My theory is guys are not concentrating coming down the stretch, and you're supposed to be playing your best basketball at this point in time of the season. You're supposed to be heading to trying to where your peak performance is, and guys are not really being consistent and giving that full effort because it's just a lack of focus.
For every team, it's something different. Some teams might be lack of focus. Some teams might be guys who aren't getting back on in transition. Tonight, it came down to on the defensive end. If you're talking about no one wants to see us in a playoff series and we're one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, and you let two Bulls players combine for what? 77?
42, 30, 77 points.
77. My math is still good. See, I went to Classic Carolina.
So you got to know it is focused because you're talking about giving up layups. You're talking about transition. These are things that are just what? Energy and effort.
Yes.
Focus, paying attention to details. And these teams should be doing this by now.
All right, so when we come back, we're going to revisit our top story, which is the Rockets beating the Warriors at Oracle without James Harden. But they had this guy, future Hall of Famer Chris Paul, and he was Hall of Fame good on Saturday night.
I never really talk about officiating or anything like that, but just rude and arrogant. I mean, you aren't able to talk to them throughout the course of a game, and it's like, how do you build that relationship with officials? So, and it's not even that call. Like it's just who he is on that floor. It's pretty frustrating, and I mean, and I'm probably gonna get hit, but honestly, I don't really say anything. I'm probably a pretty quiet guy to myself, but. It's one of those things where you can't voice your opinion, you can't have a conversation with someone that's officiating the game, and you're getting attacked. It's pretty sad.
Chris had similar comments about Foster last year. Do you feel
that's another thing. Last year in the postseason, in the Western Conference Finals, I think he officiated a couple of our games, and it's lingering, and it's something that has to be looked at for sure.
you feel like it's a personal issue?
Yeah, for sure. For sure, it's personal. For sure. Like, I don't think he should be able to even, officiate our games anymore, honestly.
James Harden referring to Scott Foster, and according to Shams Charania, James Harden has to pay for those comments. He said, look, I expect to get hit in the wallet, $25,000 for criticizing one Scott Foster. The reigning MVP also out for tonight's game against the Golden State Warriors, set to tip off at 8:30. And so it's going to be a tough one for the Rockets to face the Warriors without the reigning MVP, James Harden. Let's welcome in Kelly Iko who covers the Rockets for The Athletic. James Harden, he was game time decision, out for this one. But really, it didn't seem like there was a specific moment in which he got hurt against the Lakers. So when did he get hurt? What happened with his neck injury?
Coach D'Antoni said that he got hurt. He got hit in practice, and the next day his neck was kind of sore, and he also experienced some flu-like symptoms. So they thought that the best thing tonight was just hold him out, get some rest, and recuperate for next week's games.
Well, last year, Chris Paul was able to play at an MVP level when James Harden was hurt or was out. Have those expectations changed a bit for Chris Paul? I know he's suffered through his own injuries so far this season and hasn't necessarily seemed like he's been 100% at any point.
I think Chris would be the last guy that you would want to tell that he's, his game has kind of declined. And after coming back from the injuries, his game has started to pick up a bit. He's looking more like the player they saw last season and kind of the all-star guard that they need to stagger with James Harden and run the offense. And you're seeing as the games are heading towards the playoffs, he's looking more and more fresh, getting some spring under his legs and, shooting the ball much better than before.
Speaking of looking fresh, is that velvet you have on? Is that velvet?
It's not players only, but, I have to do a little something.
I like that. And one last thing, my earpiece, you sound like Biggie Smalls a little bit, too. Has anyone ever told you that? Huh? Come on now.
Hey, yeah.
I like that. Okay, all right. Now back to the good stuff. Now, with all this with James Harden, is this something that he could use, the Rockets could use? Because let's face it, until they really get their mojo going on both ends of the floor, we're not going to take them serious of getting back to the Western Conference Finals.
I think the problem with that is they would prefer to play the Warriors 82 times a season because, as you can see, this is the game that they get up the most for, they have the most focus for. They feel like they're the biggest rivals. And being a veteran team, you know, you kind of don't want to go through the drags of the regular season. You want to play the Warriors. You want to skip to the playoffs, but you have to play during the season. And you're seeing that for them, this kind of the game where they have to, you know, turn everything up a little bit more. But they have a will and a desire, even with the injuries, even with the slow start, that when they get things together and they can gel, that they don't care the seating and the standings, they're just going to be able to play.
Caron Butler here. What are you looking forward to seeing from the Rockets in particular tonight without James Harden out there? Because I know point of emphasis, let's face it, to keep the streak going, to keep it alive. And now you see the team as a whole out there being able to be the best possible version of themselves. What are you looking forward to seeing out of them?
The defense. Last season they were in the top 10 in defense and defensive rebounding, and this season they're, I think, 25th in defensive rating, and they're last place giving points in the paint and 28th in rebounding. And for a team that has championship aspirations, you're not going to get there with those kind of rankings. So I'm looking to see, you know, a tough crowd on the road. You came after a emotional loss. How do you bounce back? You're playing against the best team in basketball for the last couple of years. Now you're seeing a new dimension with DeMarcus Cousins. How do you handle that? Are you going to, you know, step to the challenge even without James Harden, or are you going to fold and run? So I'm looking for that.
Kelly Iko from The Athletic, I think we have a new nickname for you, and I think it's Biggie Velvet.
Ooh,
we got
man.
Are you accepting that?
Baby,
Because
Biggie
I think
Velvet
it's
Jones. There it is.
Put the stamp on that. Put the stamp on that.
I like your style, bro.
I love it. And you
Thank
put
you.
in there
Keep
players
with it.
only, baby. There you go.
Thank you for your
Got to.
time, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Good stuff.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so much happening with the Rockets right now, but James Harden being out for tonight's game against the Warriors, I think it's a good litmus test to see where Chris Paul is. We know what he's been for his career, but we haven't really seen what his capabilities to the fullest extent this season because James Harden has been on this run, because Chris Paul has been hurt.
Yeah, the game is still the same. They're going to run a lot of pick and rolls and having Capella back. Tough juice, you know he's going to roll to the basket. It's guys like right there, it's Eric Gordon. You know, is he more animated tonight? What I mean by that, Chris, is like, is he looking for more shots? Are they running more offense for him? Does he get more opportunity to run the pick and roll knowing that there's no James Harden tonight? So that's why I agree with Kelly. Defensively, I want to see, do they still lock down? And you still have Chris Paul on the floor, so the ball still will be in someone's hands that knows how to facilitate.
Karan, do you like the way that they handled the Scott Foster situation? It seems like, look, James Harden is not exactly the most vocal guy as far as superstars are concerned. So to hear him voice his opinion on that, take the fine for his team and his teammates, and Chris Paul also got a tech that he felt he didn't deserve in that game. Do you feel like that was the right way that they handled that?
Yeah, listen, when a quiet individual talks, everyone should listen. And I felt like he did a service to his team and to himself by, stepping out and saying and talking about some things that he wasn't comfortable with. He addressed it. He got hit. And like he said, I know I'm going to get hit. He got hit. It was coming. It was warranted. But at the same time, it may have been a lot of truth to what he was saying. And I think it's something that has to be addressed and just, reviewed and looked at. But most of all, I love collectively how the two leaders of that ball team, one being the president of the NBA Players Association and Chris Paul, they both got texts in that moment. So you best believe it's going to be some momentum behind what was said and what was addressed.
Can I address something?
Oh, he gets his special camera.
My camera
3D special camera time.
Hey, James Harden, I think Anthony Davis. Am I missing anybody? Who else got fined pretty heavy recently? All you guys have been getting fined heavily. Send half the money to me and I'll talk for you and I can cut you a discount. There you go, I'm done.
Oh.
I'm done, that was it.
Put my camera up.
You got a better discount? This is camera one.
Basically what he just said is he got drip for sale.
There you go. So just send the money to me and we all good. And it's going to be a discount. So instead of $25,000, it's going to $12,500. Cut it in half, baby.
That's a nice soft
That's a
discount.
nice, you know what I'm
I like
saying?
your style,
You see
bro.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't want it all.
No,
You just
I
want a
want-
little taste.
Man, I want
I think
half
we,
of it, man.
I think
That's
we
all
need to move
want.
on from this before we get a call from upstairs. Like, hey, Chris,
Hey, look, upstairs, look, man.
Make sure
I
you-
take you to
you hold
lunch
that
and
one
dinner
down.